Goed julle, ons kyk nou gou na die informele en die formele verslag. Ons gaan nie kort verslag bespreek, alhoewel julle 'n informele en formele verslag gaan skryf. Die tweede addisionele taal doen nou die kort verslag, maar dit is maar basies dieselfde. So 'n verslag is die bevindings van 'n versamelde inligting of 'n navorsingsprojek of 'n gebeurtenis. Dit is 'n dokument wat oor die vordering van 'n gebeurtenis of 'n bepaalde werkverslag lewer. So a report is findings of collected information or a research project or of an event. It is a document that is about the development of an event, or maybe if you are, for example, doing research on animals and how they behave in winter opposite to spring, then you can give reports on how your research is going or how your work is going. Goed, so 'n informele verslag, you need to have the following. 'n interessante opskrif, an interesting heading must be given. Skryf 'n bondige en interessante inleiding wat die doel van die verslag weergee. So a short, interesting introduction that gives through the aim of this report. In other words, I need to know, if I read your first paragraph, that you are giving me a report on a sporting event that happened over the weekend at school or something of the like. Okay? Verskaf kortliks inligting oor die vraag, so there has to be detail about the following questions. Wie was betrokke? Who was involved? Wat het gebeur? What happened? Waar did it gebeur? Where did it happen? And when did this happen? These questions can be used as subheadings. Okay? So after the first paragraph, in the first paragraph, let's say, for example, your mother asked you to bake a chicken for dinner, or roast a chicken rather, instead of baking a chicken. Let's say you roasted a chicken and the chicken got burned. So now mommy asks you to write a report on what happened, why the chicken got burned. Then in your first paragraph you will say, die verslag handel oor die gebrande hoender wat gemaak is vir aandete op die 24ste April 2020. So already I know the report is about a burnt chicken that was supposed to be for dinner on the 24th of April. Okay? Then you're going to start in each paragraph and you're going to say, wie was betrokke? So then you will say something like, Pietie was veronderstel om die hoender in die oond te sit teen 4:00 die middag, sodat dit teen 6:00 gaar sou wees. Pietie het ongelukkig nie geluister nie. Wat het gebeur? What happened? Pietie het eers 5:00 die middag die hoender in die oond gesit, en in plaas daarvan om dit teen 180 grade te bak, het hy dit gebak teen 200 grade. Waar het dit gebeur? Hierdie gebeure het alles plaasgevind in ons huis in Kameeldoringstraat 24 se kombuis. Wanneer het dit gebeur? Dit het gebeur om 5:00 die middag op die 24ste April 2020. Okay? So it is very short, very simple, nothing strange, nothing fancy. Very important as well is you must not get too emotional when writing a report like this. It is supposed to be an objective report. Okay? So jy brei die vraag uit op die volgende paragrawe. Each question is then expanded in the following paragraphs. Okay? Skryf 'n treffende slot wat alles saamvat. So a very powerful conclusion must be made at the end of all of this. In other words, because of Pietie's laziness and in putting the chicken up on the time that it was supposed to be put up, the chicken ended up burning and we had to eat fish fingers instead of chicken, or whatever the case might be. Die taal, die register en die styl moet by die formele of die informele verslag pas. So the language, the style and the register needs to fit in with your informal report. It's not supposed to be super formal, but you're not going to use informal language like you would, for example, in a informal letter or a dialogue. Okay, so jou taal moet nog steeds 'n bietjie formeel wees. Dis nie veronderstel om so formeel te wees as met 'n aansoekbrief of iets in daai lyn nie, maar dit gaan ook nou nie so informeel wees soos met 'n dialoog of met 'n informele brief nie. Visuele materiaal kan ingesluit word om die verslag interessant te maak. You can forget about the visual materials because you are not going to have time to do that in an exam. Okay? So no visuals, please. Okay. Goed, die informele verslag handel oor byvoorbeeld 'n sporttoer, 'n klasuitstappie of 'n matriekafskeid. So you can already see the informal report is about a sports tour, about a class class expedition, and then a matric farewell. So you can see from the topics that you can do it, and obviously guys, it's not just that, it can be about anything else as well. But from that, you can already see it's a much more informal type of report than what you would for a formal report. Okay? Die presiese weergawe van die gebeure moet gegee word, so it has to be an exact report of what happened. You can't say it was round about that time. You have to give me specific times, specific dates, those kinds of things. Paragrawe moet volgens die logiese verloop van die gebeure wees, so the paragraphs need to follow in with your logical train of events. So if you started on a Monday with your sports tour, then you start to tell me what happened on the Monday, then the Tuesday, then the Wednesday, then the Thursday. You can't start op Dinsdag en dan is jy by Maandag en dan is ons by Vrydag. It has to follow logical. Okay? Dis kort en bondig. It is not supposed to be an essay, guys. This is part of section B, so it's 120 to 180, 150 to 180 words, okay? So please make sure that you keep it short and keep it sweet. Bywoorde en byvoeglike naamwoorde kan gebruik word, so adverbs and adjectives are necessary. You need to explain to us what happened, feelings, emotions, well, not necessarily feelings and emotions of yourself, but of the people involved, for example, can be given. Pietie was baie bekommerd oor hoekom hy die hoender moet gaar maak of wat ook al die geval mag wees. Alright? And then you use it to make your report interesting. Okay? It's not necessarily supposed to be very humorous, but you can put some humor in there, especially in the informal report, but definitely not in the formal report. Okay. Die formele verslag, they will tell you that is 'n ooggetuie verslag. Okay, so it's an eyewitness report. So if they ask you this, they haven't really asked a formal report in a exam for FAL. It's more a home language thing, but it says there at the top that it can be for FAL. So just make sure that you know that. So in paragraaf 1 kort ons die persoonlike besonderhede of persoonlike inligting van die persoon wat die verslag saamstel. So if you are writing the report, then I need your details. So volle name, your full names must be given, your ID number must be given, address, and a contact number must also be given. Okay? Again, I ask, in the end of your exams, you're not supposed to write your own personal details, so make something up, please. Okay. Paragraaf 2 is die besonderhede van die gebeure. So the details of what happened, die datum, die tyd en die plek. The date, the time and the place. Paragraaf 3 is 'n uitbreiding van die besonderhede. Remember we spoke about that in the previous one. Die wie, die wat, die waar, die wanneer, né? So the who, the what, the where, the when, all of those things must be in there, and then samevatting en gevolgtrekking follows at the end. So conclusion is in paragraph 5. Die verslag word laastens onderteken, so you must sign the report, en die datum word voorsien. The date is given on which you wrote the report. Goed. Die verslag word in die eerste persoon gedoen, so this report is done in the first person. Toe ek om 13:30 daar aankom, het ek gesien. When I arrived at 2:30 or 1:30, I saw the following. Okay? Die ooggetuie moet dit wat hy gesien het weergee. So the eyewitness needs to give through that which he or she saw. Die verslag word saaklik geskryf, so it is written in a business style. It's not going to be emotive in any way, shape or form. It is going to be what I saw, this is what happened, no emotions, no opinions, nothing. Okay? Emosioneel gelaaide woorde is ontoepaslik, so no emotive words of any kind must be in here, en dan die taal en styl moet formeel wees in die geval. Okay? So it has to be formal here. Die formele verslag is gewoonlik 'n verslag wat vir die polisie of die versekering geskryf word. So a formal report is a report usually for police or insurance companies. Die inligting en feite moet korrek wees. Information and facts must be correct. Paragrawe moet volgens logiese verloop van die gebeure wees en fyn detail moet gegee word. Okay? So we spoke about logiese verloop. If it started on or at 8 o'clock on a Monday that the house caught fire, I need to know from 8 o'clock what happened 8 o'clock, what happened 8:30, what happened 9, what happened 9:30, all the way up to the end. Okay? You can't start at 8 and now we're at 2 and then we're at 3 and then we're at 7 o'clock again. It has to follow logical. Fine detail must be given. Okay? So, let's say for example, I think it was 2 years ago, the topic was a teacher's laptop got stolen at your school. You saw what happened. Give an informal report. They said informal report, so that followed the example of the previous one, but I'm going to use it as an example here. So, 'n onderwyser se skootrekenaar is gesteel, skryf 'n verslag oor wat gebeur het. So, laptop stolen, write a report on what happened. Now you have to say, toe ek om 7:30 by klaskamer B1 aankom om my tas neer te sit, het ek gesien hoe 2 seuns binne in die klaskamer B3 instap. Om 7:45 het die een seun uitgekom met niks in sy hande nie. Hy het langs die vensters gaan staan en 'n paar minute later het 'n swart sak deur die venster gekom. Hy het dit gevat en het in die rigting van die eetsaal geloop. Om 8:15 het die ander seun uit die klaskamer uitgestap. Hy het nie die deur toegemaak nie. Ek het by die deur ingeloer om te kyk wat daar aangaan en gesien dat die onderwyser se skootrekenaar nie meer daar is nie. Okay, so tiny details, times must be given. You saw this, then you saw that, then you saw the other. Those kinds of things must be given. Dis kort en bondig, again, short and sweet. Don't go into too much sweet talk and fanciness and all of those things. Keep it to the facts, and that is basically that. Enige vrae hieroor, asseblief, stuur vir my 'n boodskap, laat ons kan gesels.